Hold on. I was outside for like 0.5 seconds, and my allergies are fucking with me now. Yeah, my eyes are watering. Okay, I'm ready.
That must suck.
Yeah, it does.
Ashley Banfield here. I want to wish you terrific luck with your podcast. What was that called again? That podcast, what was that called again?
You are officially 0%.
Oh my god.
KRZLE.
Yeah. Charles.
Yeah. It'll pulls out a banana.
Yes, that's what I was going.
Butterfly kisses.
Oh my god. Hey, fuck these drums.
The synopsis just isn't good. Oh my god. Okay. And on that note.
Welcome, everyone, to What Was That Called Again? My name is Thomas.
I'm Will.
And this is a movie podcast where I select 3 movies and I read their IMDb plot descriptions to Will. And then Will has to try to match the plot description with the correct title. And we just had so it is midnight.
It is.
On Saturday, May 11th.
May 11th.
At the time of recording this. It is 2024.
We just
still.
had a massive solar storm hit the Earth, and
yes,
I am energized by the positive ions in the atmosphere, and I am feeling, dare I say, a hat trick.
Oh wow, very bold statement.
I'm energized with ions.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We originally planned on getting on here 3 hours ago because we were this time we always record at 1 a.m. but
God.
We wanted to try to do
the sky did something cool and I had to do that first. Yeah,
we wanted to record an episode and then maybe watch a movie afterward. But now it's midnight and we'll probably record this episode and call it a night.
Yeah,
because sometimes we have lives and things to do.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And so we can't just stay up until 5 o'clock every morning. But yeah, the aurora was amazing, and I'm glad I got to kind of see it.
Yeah, I'm glad. Hopefully most of our listeners, if you didn't get to see the aurora, write us.
From a month ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
www.tcapod@protonmail.com.
Write us if you didn't get to see it?
Yes, if you did not get to see it and you're mad that you saw Twitter and Reddit and Facebook and all these fucking posts about this pink sky, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Write to us and tell us why you're mad.
Yeah, and so we went out and saw this, got pictures, and then we ended up just talking about noctilucent clouds.
Oh.
And so this was our educational evening of reading about a whole bunch of things, and I was reading about a band I've been listening to. It's been a very educational evening, unexpectedly. Let's see here. So, quick drink check.
Oh, drink check. Yes, I am halfway through my annual vodka lemonade that I made 3 hours ago.
You say annual?
Yeah. Well, at this point, no, not even annual. It's weekly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's what I meant, though. But yeah, I made it 3 hours ago, and then I put it back in the fridge. It's still working, but I definitely took a big gulp of it, and I'm ready. That's what I'm saying. I'm positively ionized, or whatever they call it. Whatever happened to us, whatever the pink glow was, the Orc cloud, the pink cloud of mystery that happened above us.
Yeah, I drink check on my end as I slammed a strawberry bang
appropriate
2.5 hours ago because I was ready to get jazzed up for the show, and
then I was audible.
Since for the most part worn off, I think, but I'm all right. Let's see here. So I wanted to do a one last really quick thing. I wanted to try to do a phrase rewind and see if you can remember. See if you can remember what it is that you said in last week's episode about the mumblecore guitar guy that made us die laughing.
So it was last week's episode for the listener and also last week's episode for us recording. And I do believe it was me saying, it was something I want to.
You said,
I know
every music you have, I hate. That's what I think it is, right?
Yeah, every music you have, I hate. Yeah, that was it. That's the line. That's going to be our first merch.
Oh man, I actually just completely randomly remembered it because I was trying to think of how it was phrased because I haven't edited that episode yet at the time we're recording this. So I haven't heard that. I haven't listened to that since we recorded it, and I heard it in person. And so I was trying to remember what that was.
Every music you have, I hate.
That's such a mean thing to say to someone.
It makes no sense, but we understand exactly what is being said.
Yeah, exactly. So we've already got a bold declaration of
Yes.
hat trick
I am solar irradiated.
Let's see if he can keep his. I haven't kept tabs, but let's just say like 5 out of 5 on his bold declarations that he has. He has a 100%.
Yeah, I don't know the number, but it definitely is.
You've done it like 4 times, 3 or 4 times, I think.
Have I? I don't think I've had a hat trick of hat tricks yet, have I?
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
yes, you have.
Okay, well, thank you.
You've at least had a hat trick of hat
I'm
tricks.
proud of
You might have
myself,
had the hat trick plus 1. I don't remember.
Okay.
If anyone out there
All I
has
know
like
is that
a
every time that I
spreadsheet
do
of everything, send us
if you
an
have
email.
it spread it out or written out, definitely share that with us too. I would like to know if a dedicated listener wants to go back and like keep tab. We could, but we're lazy.
Yeah, like see what your percentage, like your actual accuracy percentage is.
What's my batting average? But I do know. I don't know the number clearly, but I do know, or am pretty confident that every time that I have announced hat trick, I've gotten it.
Yes, you're 100% on that.
Okay, don't let me down now, son.
So pressure's on.
I feel glowing.
We're gonna kick things off this week then, with a movie that comes straight out of the year 1977.
77. Okay, got it.
Yep. And your synopsis, written by one Ross Horsley.
Ooh.
On IMDb. You can email this guy if you want to at explodo@hotmail.com.
Explodo.
Yep. He writes the synopsis as follows, directly from IMDb. 16 years after a woman's gangster boyfriend was shot and killed by 4 associates, a series of gruesome murders take place at the drive-in movie theater she now owns. Meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
the behavior of her mute daughter is becoming increasingly strange, and a visiting psychic claims that forces from beyond the grave are out for revenge.
All right. So we got this whole room that has a bunch of stuff minus the kitchen sink. Let's just put all of it in there. Let's just put everything in there. Okay. So I might have to have you read this again, but let me just try.
Yeah.
So 1977, and it was after 4 years after a murder.
According to this synopsis, 16 years after.
Okay, I divided by 4. Sorry, there were 4 people.
By 4 associates, yes.
Okay, 4 associates. Yeah, okay, so that's where I got the 4 from. Okay, so go ahead and read it to me again.
Yes. 16 years after a woman's gangster boyfriend was shot and killed by 4 associates, a series of gruesome murders takes place at the drive-in movie theater she now owns.
God, so weird.
Meanwhile, the behavior of her mute daughter is becoming increasingly strange, and a visiting psychic claims that forces from beyond the grave are out for revenge.
So a girl dated a guy who was possibly murdered by his associates 16 years before. So she got pregnant from this guy, I'm assuming, and now it's 16 years later, and this child of the dead gangster is mute, and her mother and her operate a drive-in movie theater.
Yep.
And while there's this history of 4 associates killing her boyfriend 16 years ago, her daughter is now acting strange, and they inquire the help of a psychic to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 1977. There's a lot. Yep. There's like 4 movies in that.
That is true.
Okay. I think I'm ready for the next
that
one.
way.
Drive-in.
Okay,
Why do they throw in the drive-in movies? Like, what does it have to be? That is so weird.
Ross Horsley, if you're listening, let us know. Or we could just watch it probably, and that might tell us more information as well.
Yeah.
But we are going to move along now to your second synopsis, which comes from a film that was released in 1982.
82. Okay.
P.S. Really quick on that previous one from 77, they cram all of that into 85 minutes. So
that's amazing.
but we're going to go this movie from 1982. And the synopsis from IMDb reads as follows. A woman with psychic visions and an alcoholic past moves into a house where the previous occupant was mysteriously decapitated and soon suspects the visions she's seeing are her own future.
So we got another psychic. So I'm going to boil this one down. 1982, a psychic moves into a house whose former tenant was decapitated mysteriously, right?
Yes.
And she starts seeing visions that she thinks are her future.
Yep.
Okay, a lot less going on, it seems like, but still very strange. How do you get mysteriously decapitated? Well, I'm sure that he knows how it happened.
You know what's bullshit right now? This is a kind of this
sidebar.
is a kind of a sidebar. It's related somewhat. So, IMDb has two different written synopsis for this movie.
Sure, yeah.
We could not get our version of Begotten featuring an orc named Charles put on there, but this asshole frankfob2 at yahoo.com was able to put a synopsis up, and it is the exact same thing. It's the exact same. He just copied it, except he changed the end of it to, and soon suspects she's looking into her own future, as opposed to the one that I wrote down that says, and soon suspects the visions she's seeing are her own future. They just changed like 2 words, and they fucking posted it on here. It's the exact same thing.
And what was his email address again? So we can all we can all write angry letters to him.
frankfob2, the number 2, frankfob2 at yahoo.com.
So we had Yahoo, and the other one was Hotmail.com. I feel like these are all defunct email addresses.
These were written in like 1999.
Yeah. Okay, so that was 1982. And did I get that right? A psychic moves into a house that the former owner or tenant was decapitated mysteriously, and she starts having visions that she thinks are her future?
That is correct.
Okay. Third movie.
Okay. Your final movie is going to come from 1973.
Okay, going back. Okay.
And your synopsis reads as follows. A young woman rendered mute after a childhood sexual assault is
sad.
trained to seek violent revenge on those who kidnapped and forced her into prostitution.
Jesus. Okay, so does it say her age at the beginning?
Nope.
Just as a young woman?
Yep.
Okay, so she's mute now because of an assault.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's trained by someone or some organization to find and attack those who assaulted her?
Yep, to get violent revenge on those who kidnapped and forced her into prostitution.
Forced her? That's great. How did she go mute? That's insane. That's hard. That's a hard story. 1973.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. 1973, and you're dealing with rape, sex trafficking, permanent hearing loss. Or no, not hearing loss. She's not mute as she's not mute as she's turned off the TV. She's mute as she can't speak. So did they cut her tongue out? Did they cut her? Like, how do you go mute? Oh my gosh. So she can't speak, and then she's trained by someone, I'm guessing, in some special combative art to seek violent revenge on these people. So this is almost like, when did I Spit on Your Grave come out?
Spit on Your Grave came out in 78.
Oh, okay. So interesting. I mean, I don't like, because those are hard stories, but I like stories where like something horrible happens to a character, and then that character does horrible things to the people who did that to her or him.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always fun. Well, not fun, but those are always entertaining. Okay, let me try to recap.
Yep.
So, the first one was 1977. And after, 16 years after a gangster boyfriend was shot by 4 associates. The girlfriend of said boyfriend now owns a movie theater with her mute daughter, who is seeing visions, and the mother asks a psychic for help. Something along those lines.
Yes, except the only thing that it says is that the behavior of her mute daughter is becoming increasingly strange.
Right. Yeah. There is that. Yeah, that's important. I think.
And a visiting psychic claims that forces from beyond the grave are out for revenge.
So the psychic was just passing through. the psychic was there to see the double feature on Friday.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
And it's like your daughter's weird. Okay, all right. So that was 77. Okay, the next one was 83, 82.
82. Yeah.
82. And this
big year
one
for
is,
movies.
Yeah, it was. Probably not this one though. But this one is about the psychic who moves into a house whose former owner was mysteriously decapitated, and this psychic starts to see visions of the future she believes are her own.
Correct.
Okay. And then the last one was 1973. And after going, a young woman, I think you said, it goes mute after being sexually assaulted, and trains so she can seek violent revenge on those who attacked her.
Yep.
Okay. I think I have those locked in. I hope the titles because I didn't even say this. I'm off my brand. None of those felt or sounded familiar at all.
It's usually not a great sign if you're declaring a hat trick.
I know. So I'm hoping that the titles give me something.
Yeah. There have been times in the past you declared a hat trick, and then on pure blind guessing, you got some correct.
That's also true. Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and title me. First one.
Okay. The first title I'm going to give you is Thriller.
Oh my God. What the fuck? Thriller. Okay. Thriller. Nothing. Is Thriller... Okay, hold on. Thriller could be... maybe Thriller has something to do with the drive-in movie theater. Right? Maybe. It doesn't feel like Thriller would go with the psychic whose house, who the former owner of the house was mysteriously decapitated. That doesn't feel like Thriller to me. That feels more like a slow burn, possibly. Does it go with the recently mute young woman who was attacked? It feels wrong to call that movie Thriller. Right? That movie feels too heavy. Or at least potentially the subject matter is heavy to call just to slap the title Thriller on it. That sounds weird. Plus it was the early 70s, so I don't think they would have done that either. But the 82 one was the psychic whose previous owner was decapitated. That one feels more like Thriller to me. But maybe that's also because of Michael Jackson. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to, like I said, temporarily lock that one in with the drive-in, just because that, I don't know what it is. Something just feels like that movie had so much in it, just from the synopsis. And clearly it has to be jam-packed if it's only 80 some minutes. So I feel like the marketers were just like, just call it Thriller. It'll sell.
This one's thrilling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, we don't need it. There's no way to really tell what this is by the title other than how it makes you feel, which is thrilled. So we'll call it Thriller. Done. Put it in the box. Get it out there. Okay. I'm going to temporarily lock that one in. Next one.
All right. Your second title I'm going to give you is Dark Sanity.
Ooh. That's like a metal album. Dark Sanity. Dark Sanity. Ooh, God, that's okay. I mean, Dark Sanity. That's awesome. Right away, I go to the young victim of assault who was made mute and then is trained to violently attack those who attacked her. That sounds like Dark Sanity, where she's not insane, but she's in a very purpose-driven mindset that is very, very not good. Dark Sanity. That's awesome. That's an awesome title. I hope that's it. I don't think that fits, unless I can convince myself. I don't think that fits with
as you are one to do.
As I am known to do. Let's see if it fits the psychic and the decapitation.
Every couple weeks, you'll be like, that one I'm completely ruling out. Well, unless it's this, and then you're like, I think that's got to be the one. It's actually that one.
I either do that or I ask a question, then immediately answer it.
Yes,
those are my two MOs. Okay, but I don't think it just doesn't feel, nothing, neither Thriller or Dark Sanity feel like a psychic in a house where the former owner was mysteriously decapitated. Like that movie alone, and I hate to say this on record and then it watch it be like a really famous movie, Criterion Collection, one of the most renowned horror films ever. But it just on that synopsis, it sounds kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know really so a psychic is seeing future visions that are maybe her own. Okay, that's okay. I mean,
but then she just
how does that affect
cooks dinner
us?
for herself?
Yeah, right. Like how does that affect anyone
TV.
but her? Like either you can see what's happening and you deal with it, or you can't see what's happening and you deal with it. Like that really doesn't change anyone's lives there. And the fact that like the former owner of the house was mysteriously decapitated again. Did that affect the selling price of the house? Did that? I don't know what So this movie doesn't really ring true with Dark Sanity. But then as the first one just has so much content. You've got the backstory from 16 years ago of the four associates killing a gangster guy who maybe got his girlfriend pregnant. Maybe he knew, maybe he didn't know. I imagine he didn't know, and she was going to go tell him that night. And then all of a sudden he got killed and she couldn't even tell him unless he was like dying in her arms and she told him. That'd be kind of awesome, right? So there's that story. There's also the story of somehow she inherits or she buys or she works her way up in the ranks of a drive-in theater and then owns it. So there's that storyline. And then throw in the storyline of this deaf daughter or this mute daughter. Is it deaf mute or just mute?
It just says mute.
Yeah. I keep getting those two confused. Her mute daughter suddenly acting strange, and there happening to be a psychic passing through that decides to help handle this. So there's another storyline. None of that sounds like Dark Sanity to me. That still sounds too heavy. So again, temporary locking in Dark Sanity with the 1973 film of the young woman who became mute after being sexually assaulted and was trained to violently attack those who assaulted her. Last one, please.
Yep. Your final title this week is going to be Ruby.
Immediately that rings a bell. I don't know what bell though, but it does sound familiar. Ruby. Is that about the psychic? Or is that about the girl who trains to attack her attackers? Because that also feels like that one now. Shit. I was really confident with my guessing. It was still guessing, but I was still confident so far. This one has thrown me. Ruby. That's all I get. Ruby? Ruby. Yeah. Ruby. It's like Patrick. This is Patrick all over again.
Do your
trailer?
Tried and true trailer. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. So let's see. I gotta pick one first. I mean, I could see Ruby.
Because then I can hopefully find the real trailer for these and then cut it in. Because every time you do that, you're pretty close to like what the narrator on these trailers actually says. You're cutting it in right now. So what I've done is I've painted myself in this corner that, as of right now, with my unofficial guesses, Ruby has to be the third one left, which is the
1982 film of the psychic who moves in and the decapitation and future visions thing. But in my trailer forming mind, I'm picturing Ruby as the young woman who was attacked and becomes mute and then trains to attack her attackers. Because I can see the trailer. I can almost, again, sort of like that same voice from Patrick. Maybe it's like, maybe it's even a female voice. And it's like Ruby. And then we see her like walking down like an alley or something. And she's like looking over her shoulder. And then we hear like these like thugs behind her and she's kind of panicking. And then we hear some screams. And then it jump cuts and Ruby again. Maybe they say some things probably, and then they say her name again to highlight that she's the focus of this movie. And then we see her struggling to recover, and maybe the narrator says something like, "They couldn't put a good girl down, Ruby." And then we see her like training or whatever. And then we get like this, the shot that's like the beginning of our climax in the film where she confronts these guys and they're like, they think she's just this, oh, look, the pretty little leg thing is back or whatever, whatever their phrase is, right? Their derogatory phrase, their catcalling phrase. She's back for more, boys, or whatever they say, right? And then she pulls out like a fucking like butterfly knife or something and just fucking like goes, just like goes crazy and kills them all instantly. It'd be crazy. And then Ruby, and then that's the whole trailer. Again, very similar to Patrick. That's what I'm thinking. But I don't know then where Dark Sanity goes.
The only pleasure is revenge.
Oh,
Ruby.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay. The only pleasure is revenge is a possible one. I do like that one. I also like the color of blood, Ruby, right? ...
after.
Yeah. No, that's the tagline on the poster. Yeah. Okay. But then again, if that's true though, then that means that where does Dark Sanity go? Damn it. I mean,
How are you feeling, Patricia? My sanity. It's very dark.
It's very dark. I mean, it could have just been just a bad title in the 80s to make a movie that is kind of boring sound more intense. That could be the thought process behind the 1982 psychic mysterious decapitation future vision thing. Just call it Dark Sanity. Because I do feel okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. Even though I think Dark Sanity is so awesome that I think it goes with the last film better. I feel like in the early 70s they would have much more likely titled something just Ruby, right? Like let the movie speak for itself. It's Ruby. This is going to be like they're almost setting this up as like she's going to be known by this name because of the violence that she does is so prolific that everyone will know her by her first name, and that's probably in the trailer too. So.
Yeah, I just like imagined you saying that exactly how you said it, and that's the trailer. It's just like she's all the violence that she does is just Ruby. Her first name is Ruby, or whatever it was.
She's so prolific. Yeah, Ruby. That same like just kind of low key bored,
no enthusiasm.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I gotta lock these in. So. Okay, so the 1977 film where 16 years ago, a gangster was killed by 4 associates and his girlfriend was left to mother a mute child who then grows up to start acting strange while her mother runs a drive-in theater. That one I'm going to call... What was the first title again?
What was that called again?
Thriller.
Thriller. That's right. Thriller. Yes, Thriller. Thriller. I'm going to call that one Thriller just because I feel, again, 70s one-word titles, but also this one's getting a little bit more generic because we're getting closer to that time frame of the 80s and the late 70s, and also because they didn't know how to market it because there's just so much shit going on. So we're just going to call that one Thriller. And I feel like the movie opens up maybe like at the drive-in and they're showing some kind of thriller, like generic thriller film on the, Okay. Locking that one in. First one's Thriller. That means the 1982 film of the psychic and the former owner of the home she now lives in being mysteriously decapitated, either seemingly causing or having no relation to it all, her seeing future visions that she thinks are her own. Mm-hmm. I'm going to call that one Dark Sanity. I hate that because I really feel like that one goes with the last one just because it's so awesome. But I also feel like 1982, they just slapped a title on this thing to make it sound cooler on the box in the video store than what it really was. So that one's going to be Dark Sanity. That means that the 1973 film of the young woman who becomes mute after being sexually assaulted and then trains so that she can violently attack those who assaulted her is called Ruby. Final answer.
All right, a lot on the line here.
There is. Did my solar irradiation come into play?
Your hat trick, your reputation is on the line.
It is.
There's a lot on this.
It is.
And you got 1 out of 3.
Oh my gosh, I have failed the hat. The sun has done me wrong. My ionized energy has backfired.
Yep.
1 out of 3.
Yep. Your favorite.
So then I just had to go with what I was saying to begin with, which is what I should have gone with. Ruby does ring a bell. I just don't know it. So I'm going to stick with the first one, the first film from 1977 being Thriller. I still feel like that one was just slapped on. I don't know why you would call that one Ruby. Because there's just too many people involved. And I don't know if you'd call that one Dark Sanity or not. I don't think that fits. So what I originally had said and what I should have stuck with is that the last film, the one of the young woman going mute and learning how to attack her attackers, being a heavy film, that one is Dark Sanity. And that means that the psychic and the decapitation and the future visions is just called Ruby for whatever reason. Final answer.
Okay. And with that shuffle, that puts you at 0 out of 3.
Oh my gosh. I have totally failed. Okay. Well, I am really curious then as to why what the first movie is called and why it was called anything but This Is a Movie.
This is a movie. Your first movie from 1977 from director Curtis Harrington.
Sounds familiar.
Is the film Ruby.
God damn it. Why? You give us all this information about a backstory and a guy who gets killed and 4 associates in a drive-in fucking theater. And I bet Ruby is the name of the daughter, probably.
We had fun with Ruby being the revenge trailer. And yeah, that ruined it. So this movie stars...
This is a bad synopsis, is what this is.
Piper Laurie,
I've heard
who
from
a year
her.
before this was the mom in Carrie.
That's it? Okay.
It also stars Len Lesser, whom to all of us Seinfeld fans is Uncle Leo in Seinfeld.
Oh, okay. I don't know it.
We can watch this on YouTube in its entirety, all 85 minutes.
That's a bonus right there.
Yes. So a thing that I
who is
read.
Ruby?
That is an excellent question.
Thank you.
Ruby is Piper Laurie's character, whom I assume is the woman whose gangster boyfriend
Has to
was
be.
killed 16
Has
years
to
ago. From the IMDb trivia, a producer wanted to change the ending, and both the director, Mr. Curtis Harrington, as well as the star Piper Laurie, refused to be involved in the reshoots of the ending. It was allegedly shot by Stephanie Rothman, who has neither confirmed nor denied her involvement. This ending, featured in the TV commercials at the time of its theatrical release, apparently, helped make it the box office success that it was. I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
However, a interesting piece of information about this film, until Halloween came out a year later, Ruby from 1977 was the highest grossing independent film of all time.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting.
So it held that title for a whole year.
A whole year.
Or however long it was between its release and Halloween.
Right.
This movie, another piece of information from IMDb Trivia, there is an introducing credit to actress Janet Baldwin, even though she had appeared in multiple films and TV movies before this.
Introducing, once again, as you well know, Janet Baldwin.
Let's see here. So Curtis Harrington, the writer-director, wanted to actually change the title of the film to The Apparition. But
I don't know if it's better or worse than Ruby. I don't know if I would have gotten... I think I would have been even further away with these three movies. If this was called The Apparition instead of Ruby, I would have definitely called The Psychic and The Mysterious Decapitation. I would have called that one The Apparition for sure.
Well, his pleas to change the title to that were ignored.
Ooh, good.
And then, so whenever you said it sounded familiar, there were two things that came to mind. First is that there is a pretty well-known and highly regarded anime film called Ruby. And I thought,
maybe.
I don't know if maybe you had seen that on Twitter or somebody had mentioned it at some point. I don't
possible.
know. But
yeah.
The other one, probably more likely reason you may have heard of this in some fashion, is that in 2016, the film was riffed by MST3K.
that is actually probably why.
Is that Jonah Ray era? 2016?
Yes. Yeah, that would be the remake. Yeah.
Right whenever that came out, or right whenever that started, right?
That's what that's what, for the listener's sake, a little backstory on Will here. That's probably what is most of my struggle with doing this show. Is that, yes, I was a film student, so I have that exposure to a lot of, I guess, more classic cinema. I also had a horror film history class that was a lot of just junk horror films that it was a great class. It was an awesome class, but it was a lot of just random movies. And then for a large chunk of my life, from a very young age until still to this day, I am an avid fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Riff Tracks and Cinematic Titanic, and there was the other one. I can't remember what it's called now. But yeah, so...
Yeah, to the point that several years ago, there was at least on my end, an impromptu drive from Southern Indiana to Atlanta to watch MST3K live in person, and then drove all the way back to Southern Indiana the same night.
24-hour round trip, I do believe. Yeah. That was that was on the whim. It was not planned on my end either. So I'm a big fan, but because of that, I have floating in my noggin a lot of just random titles. So whenever I say feels familiar, sounds familiar, it's probably because of the MST3K tie-in. Usually, I mean, it's going to be. I mean, I didn't recognize Werewolf until
the very last
most of the way
second.
through the show. Yeah. so even though I have seen or heard of some of these films, I just don't. They still don't come to the forefront of my brain and well enough for me to actually use. But yeah, Ruby did sound familiar, so that makes sense that I either have seen parts of it or at least I've seen the title. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving along, your second movie from 1982 is Dark Sanity.
God damn it.
The movie stars actor Aldo Ray, who was the only one who got paid. I read in the trivia, contracts were signed, but the producer and director disappeared shortly after shooting completed.
Oh my.
And after that, and after not hearing anything for several years, the cast just eventually discovered that the movie was available on video.
Oh, wow.
And we can also watch this full film on YouTube. It is streaming in its entirety.
Who gets paid for it, though, if we do?
Presumably nobody.
Mr. Google.
It would take us 88 minutes to watch.
Okay, not bad. What's it about, though? I mean, what's that? We know that it's a psychic and a decapitation, but why is it? I guess my actual question is not what's it about. Why is it called Dark Sanity?
That is a great question. Maybe she's not really psychic and she's just fucking crazy. She's just seeing weird shit.
I mean, that would be a better story. You know, if you take out the psychic part of it, and it's like this young woman moves into a house whose former owner was mysteriously decapitated, and this woman starts to see visions that she thinks are her own future. That might be a little more interesting than just saying she's already a psychic. Like I don't know why we had to sprinkle that on there. It just didn't make any added benefit to the story. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then to title it Dark Sanity, I mean, did she just not get the power turned on yet? Until like the power company was coming in like a week, and she moved in on like a Friday, and they weren't coming until Monday, so she spent 2 days.
She doesn't have TV yet, and so she's just going crazy and seeing things.
But she's not. It's not dark insanity. I took it as this person is of a sound mind.
It's just a dark.
It's just dark.
it's
right.
Dark sound mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Your final movie from 1973, the only one that I've seen, is Thriller, or under its full title, in its American release, Thriller.
Is this French?
A Cruel Picture. No, it is from Sweden.
Okay.
So this movie is available from Vinegar Syndrome.
Nice.
I pre-ordered the box set from Vinegar Syndrome in 4K when it was coming out, which includes the full uncut Thriller, A Cruel Picture version of the movie. And it also includes the cut down American release version, which was retitled as They Call Her One Eye.
They call her One Eye.
Yep.
Why was that change made? Oh my! They call her One Eye. It sounds like the line said in like a Western. They call her One Eye. Here she comes down the saloon steps. Old One Eye.
Here's the box.
Okay, the box art's kind of cool. It's it's orange or red background, and there's a female with an eye patch, which that was left out of the synopsis. So spoiler alert, she has one eye.
Yes.
And she's in what seems like a leather jacket.
Yeah.
And she's holding a shotgun or rifle over her shoulder. And on the back, she is punching someone's fists. And then there she is in almost nothing except for a cloth. It looks like there's weird artwork on it, but the front is very cool. The front's very it's what's the word I'm looking for? Minimalistic. Is this like the original
this is
artwork
the actual case artwork.
Yeah. So this is the
4K.
case, and it definitely has one eye, and the one eye is focused down the sight or whatever that's called. I can't remember what the name of that thing is called on the gun that allows you to aim of a handgun, and with the one eye that's actually good, and it's called Thriller. Yes, they call her One Eye. That's just hilarious. So this is more describing things on an audio podcast.
Yep.
The artwork is, so that's the Vinegar Syndrome.
Yes.
Set. Okay, cool.
Amazing set. One of my favorite.
So why
releases
should people watch this or buy that?
Well, I personally enjoy it. So I've actually, whenever I got this, I watched the full, because I of course wanted to watch like the full not censored at all version of the movie. So I watched Thriller, A Cruel Picture, whenever I first got this set. And my girlfriend watched it as well. And neither of us knew, I barely knew anything. And I'll actually get to the only thing that I knew about this movie before I watched it. It's in my info.
They call it One Eye.
I basically knew nothing about the movie. And my girlfriend, I will tell you, was nowhere near as into this movie as me.
Why?
So the full version of the movie, Thriller, A Cruel Picture, features a lot of uncensored, full penetration sex. Like fucking like low down, just like hairy early 70s fucking
so it's almost
cock
like
and balls,
a hardcore
fucking,
porn film with a plot.
And then fucking like coming like right there on the ass. And
wow.
Oh man. But it's like early 70s, like the lighting and just the grainy film. It is so fucking gross.
It's just dirty. It's just dirty.
And it's not just once. There is multiple because she is drugged. She's basically injected with heroin.
Jeez.
And so she becomes addicted, and she needs to like get her fix, because she's got this addiction. And so they keep like essentially selling her as a prostitute so that they can make the money off of her. And then whenever she like does her work, they give her her heroin to take to get her fix off of it.
Gee, this is heavy. This is a heavy story. And you said this is Swedish, you said?
Yes.
Wow.
And so what they use to shoot up, because there are shots of like the syringe going, like the needle going into the arm.
Do you think this is a special
up.
effect, or do you think they actually did this?
It is salt mixed with water that was used for the shooting up scenes.
Oh gosh, that's so they actually did inject.
Yes,
oh my
according
God.
to the IMDb trivia. During pre-production,
which is dangerous. That's super dangerous on its own.
Seems like it.
Yeah, embolism or something.
I didn't say that the director, whose name I'm probably going to pronounce incorrectly, is Bo Arne Vibinius.
Right.
Vibinius?
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, whatever. During pre-production, the actress who plays our kidnapped young woman is Christina Lindberg. She was arrested while doing... she was training with a shotgun for like in preparation for her role in this movie, and apparently people thought that she was shooting at them, and so they called the cops on her, and she was arrested.
Oh, wow. All right.
The only information that I knew about the movie going into it the first time is that Daryl Hannah's character, whom I believe is named Elle Driver in Kill Bill, is inspired by her character in this movie. And if you ever look up the movie Thriller, A Cruel Picture, you'll see what I mean. The character wears like a black leather trench coat, and she has an eye patch over her eye. She looks very much the same as Daryl Hannah's character in Kill Bill, except I think she wears white. But the movie itself was made to cover up the financial failure of the director's first movie, which he had just finished and released. So that movie was apparently...
Which was called Mystery, or The Color Two Eyes.
It could be. I didn't look up what his other movie was before this one. But yeah, so this movie was made to cover up the financial failure of that movie. His intention was to make a commercial as hell crap film, and the actors had a clause in their contracts to ensure that they would not say the director's name. Like they wouldn't say who directed the movie Thriller. And let's see here. So also, as they were making the movie, so apparently because the movie was coming out to about 20 minutes under the runtime that they needed, they ended up doing a lot of slow motion in the movie. So they were going through the movie, and apparently any scene without dialogue was considered for adding, changing to being in slow motion. But if you watch the movie, not really much of a spoiler, I guess, but the revenge scenes, they are pretty much all in slow motion. You get these actually amazing, I loved it, these slow motion shots of her firing the gun, and the the sound effects, like the gunfire slowed down. It is so cool. It's actually, I thought, a really cool stylistic choice. And then I read like, oh, that was just because they needed to stretch out the runtime.
Right. So it's awesome, and it really is like a cool effect. But they had no intent to do that for that reason. They just were like, oh, we got to get like 3 more minutes out of this one scene. Let's just slow it down.
Yes, and one last thing really, really quick on this movie is if anyone out there is wanting to seek this movie out, I did not see it streaming anywhere available. However, they do have this Vinegar Syndrome set, and if you are able to get a hold of either version of this movie, I definitely would recommend, unless you really want to see really gross fucking like hairy genitals slamming into each other in the early 70s, I recommend looking up the They Call Her One Eye version of the movie, because that is actually the exact same, except they cut out the full penetration sequences.
So what's the runtime difference? Do you have that on hand?
That is a great question. I can actually get that really quick. So Thriller comes out to 108 minutes.
Okay.
They Call Her One Eye is an even 90.
Wow. So that's quite a bit of adult content cut out of a film that shouldn't be purely adult content. Good old 18 minutes of hairy nutsack is what you're going to miss.
Yeah, it's no good. It is no good. I actually read, I didn't write it down, but there are the two people, the guy and the girl, the couple that they used for the full penetration scenes. They were apparently like a weird, it's very like 60s, 70s kind of thing to exist, but apparently they were like a traveling duo who would like travel in this van like across the country, and they would do like live sex acts like in front of like people. That's what their thing was.
I mean,
and they were hired to do this. Yeah.
I mean, we have that today, just online. You can just do it remotely.
Yeah.
Is all, that's just OnlyFans before internet is all that is.
Yeah.
So so I made fun of the title Thriller to begin with, but the full title, Thriller: A Cruel Picture, actually I kind of like that a lot more, and I kind of wish you would have given me the full title. Maybe
I bet I was afraid that would give it away.
Well, no, I don't know about that. Clearly, I got it wrong both times. I still think Dark Sanity is awesome, but I do just I like that. I don't think I would have applied the title Thriller: A Cruel Picture to the drive-in theater one. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I don't know where I would have put it though. But anyway, but I do kind of like that title. I mean, because it's almost in the same, like, I'm trying to think how to compare that. Like, I don't want to say it's like a Serbian film, because you don't know what that is until you watch it or until you've heard about it. But it has kind of the same feel of that, where it's just vague enough by just calling it, Thriller: A Cruel Picture, right? Like it doesn't really mean anything. But then again, it also, from what it sounds like, it does mean like a lot, right? Yeah, it really does set the tone for what this film is going to be without you really knowing it. So I like that a lot. I don't know if I like They Call Her One Eye though. They Call Her One Eye makes it like that sounds like a Western, which I mean, I guess maybe. I mean, you've seen it. Could this maybe be sort of a Western? I mean, they definitely paint the picture on the cover as this badass Lone Star type, individual who's hell bent on revenge.
Yeah, definitely. Aside from the way she looks, I would say no.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Okay,
no,
maybe not.
Definitely just like an exploitation.
They call her one eye.
Revenge film. Yeah,
they call her two legs.
Danny Husband and the Two-Armed Kid.
God. Okay, so now I have to try to rank these.
Yep.
And
based on the IMDb star ratings.
Exactly. Okay, so usually I try to pick a range, and I honestly have no idea at all what the range of this is.
I'll tell you up front that the difference between the highest and the lowest rated ones here is exactly 3 even stars.
3 whole stars?
Yes, 3.0 difference between the highest and the lowest.
So then, are we going from... Oh man, are any of these like in the 3 range as the lowest? Because I was thinking like maybe high 6 would be the highest. Okay. So I'll say that. I'll say I mean, none of these feel like they're that quality great. They sound entertaining, possibly.
I think it's interesting that this guy thinks that Thriller, A Cruel Picture, is a commercial as hell.
Yeah, that's
crap film.
Yeah, I mean,
that's very strange.
Maybe in the 70s, I don't know, like late
like
70s,
like a drive-in crowd type situation.
Yeah, just
that's what I assumed.
You're just making it to make money, not to tell a story or not to, Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. Yeah. Okay. So I will say that. Let's see. Ruby was the 1977 film that's about the drive-in theater and the mute and the gangster and
Yes.
And then Dark Sanity was the psychic and the decapitation mysterious and the and then Thriller, A Cruel Picture. Yeah, I don't know where any of these set, because they all just feel kind of like drive-in fodder. Not that that's not entertaining. I don't want to say that.
Yeah, me and Will are both typically quite into those kinds of movies.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
yeah.
But I'm just thinking from the mindset of like a quality rating.
Yes.
So let's see. I feel like
I think it's safe to say that I think you and I individually, some of our favorite movies ever are like schlocky drive-in style kind of movies. Very into those kinds of things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know if that
doesn't mean
means,
IMDb is.
Well, but that also doesn't mean that I would rate it high either.
Right.
Because me being entertained by something does not necessarily mean that the quality is sometimes those are actually inversely proportional. That because the quality is so low, I am more entertained by it. Okay, so back on track here. Okay, so I feel like I'm going to get this completely wrong, as always. But I'm going to say from high 6 to high 3 is the range. And that means I'm going to say that Dark Sanity is the lowest. I'm going to say Ruby is the highest. And then very close second to Ruby is Thriller, or They Call Her One Eye. Final answer.
You're always pretty close on your order, but not quite. So
that's the whole show.
Your highest rated one with a 6.4 out of 10.
Okay.
Is Thriller, A Cruel Picture.
Okay.
AKA They Call Her One Eye.
They Call Her One Eye. I'm curious though about that, because I'm curious which one is getting the rating. Like which version is getting this rating.
Yeah, hard to say.
Because I feel like it could go either way. I feel like either the added sex scenes could make some people vote it higher. I also feel like the added sex scenes could make people detract from its quality, and then the opposite of that too. So I don't know. I'm curious. Those should be 2 different ratings.
I agree.
Whenever a film is 18 minutes different, I feel like IMDb should have 2 separate listings for those.
I definitely agree. We should write to IMDb and then never hear from them.
Yeah, exactly. Like any response. Okay, so what was second?
Second with a 4.5 out of 10 is Ruby.
Big drop.
From 1977, which leaves us with 3.4 out of 10 for Dark Sanity, and that's based only on 238 ratings.
Okay.
So essentially, like nobody has seen this.
Maybe it's a hidden gem. You never know.
It could be a 3.4 hidden gem.
It could maybe crack 4.
That's higher than Howling 7, which had like a 1.6 or whatever the fuck it was.
1.6 was Werewolf. I think Howling 7 had like a 1.8. It was a little bit higher.
I don't think so. You could be right. I don't know. There's no way to possibly find out. I don't think.
I just remember. I remember Werewolf being lower and I was shocked because the Howling 7 is far beyond worse. But anyway, yeah, you said 3.4 for Dark Sanity?
3.4, yes.
We should definitely try to get that bumped up because just on the title alone, like I think you should just rate this on just the title and nothing else. The title is awesome. I love that title, Dark Sanity. Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's just a hidden gem. Only 200 views. Okay, do we have our best segment ever?
So we have a bust because there is no quote time for this week. However, in the missing spot of quote time, we do have tagline. Tagline. So, in place of our quote time, I have looked through the poster artwork on IMDb for all 3 films, and these all have a tagline written on the poster art, and I will read all of them. However, I did select one in particular, which I will read to Will, and then Will's going to try to see if he can figure out which movie this tagline came from.
Okay. In your best movie voice announcer style.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so your tagline for this week reads as follows.
Okay.
Christened in blood, raised in sin, she's sweet 16, let the party begin. Party is in all caps.
Of course, yeah. Okay, Sweet 16, so I feel like this has to be Ruby, because that's the only one that happened like 16 years ago, and she's 16 years old now. But even though the title isn't anything to do with her, apparently that Ruby is her mother, I guess. But yeah. But the party, I don't know, that's so weird. Party. Let the party begin. Do either of the other two have mentioned a party at all? No.
None of the 3 mention a party at all.
Well, yeah, but I was already talking about Ruby. I didn't know if the other 2 mentioned it even. Yeah, that has to be Ruby, because there's no way you're like, this girl is sex trafficked for heroin, and she's having a party. Yeah, okay. Ruby, final answer.
You are correct. Woo! The poster also says, a love affair with the supernatural.
What is this movie about?
And it also says on the bottom of the poster, these are all in the same poster. These aren't different posters. It also says Piper Laurie, and underneath her name, frightening and Carrie, now, ... terrifying as Ruby.
Ruby. I'm telling you, the trailer is just like Patrick. Just like Patrick. There's even a lot of like medical beeps and boops for some reason, even though there's nothing that had to do with medical at all in this movie.
This woman is having a love affair with the supernatural.
Dark Sanity does not have a tagline on its IMDb poster, but you just have a silhouette of a figure wearing a hat, swinging an object, and a woman with her hands on her face screaming on the bottom.
You don't need a tagline because that title does all the lifting. Dark Sanity is all you need. As soon as I hear that, I've got to see Dark Sanity. Dark Sanity is coming out. I got to see it. I don't even care what it's about. Dark Sanity, go see it.
They call her One Eye / Thriller a Cruel Picture says all over the poster artwork. The tagline runs. It says, the movie that has no limits of evil. First they took her speech, ... then her sight, ... When they were finished, she used what she used what was left of her for her own frightening kind of revenge.
So they did take her tongue. They had to have cut her tongue out.
She literally is sexually assaulted, and she goes mute because of like the trauma of that. They don't do anything to her to make her lose her voice. So this is a misleading tagline.
That's not
better.
They
take her vision. They do.
Clearly, she's got an eye patch.
They do injure her eyeball, and that's why she has an eye patch. However, yeah, they don't do anything to like her throat or her tongue to like make her lose speech.
That's not better. That's just preferable for a movie over clearly just cutting her tongue out. Anyway, okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Color one eye. So I was actually going to ask you if you knew how they cut how she got one eye, but clearly they showed that. So I'm not going to ask you that question. Okay, so what I want to do is, so Ruby is what seems like a hodgepodge of ideas. And you said it's 85 minutes, which is awesome.
That is correct.
So no matter what craziness happens, no matter what insanity as far as plot, even if there is a plot, I don't even know anymore based off
Gangster
of the tagline.
Killings,
Spiritual,
drive-in
something,
theaters, love affairs with the supernatural.
Yeah, who knows? It could be. So what I want to do is, let's say that we're putting out the anniversary edition Vinegar Syndrome of Ruby, right? What I want to do is I want to come up with what was left on the cutting room floor. Mm-hmm. What from the movie were they like, this is too crazy? Because it sounds like they just threw everything at this movie. And so what was so insane or so not even insane, but just so didn't make sense, or it didn't fit the story, that they were just like, no, we just got to cut that. Just cut it. And then we put it back in. So we have gangsters. We have premarital relations. We have
christened in blood, raised in sin. She's sweet 16. Let the party begin.
We have that line.
Poster with a young girl screaming, covered in blood on the poster. Very interesting choices.
We have the poster looks like she's been shot in the forehead too. So
yeah, kind of does.
And then again, you say that the titular character is not the mute daughter, right?
That's correct. Ruby is Piper Laurie's character,
right?
The mom.
So we've titled the movie that, and then the tagline makes it seem like it's about the 16-year-old. And
I'm going to assume that the 16-year-old was played by Janet Baldwin. Right. Leslie Claire is the character's name. Leslie.
Okay, Leslie. So again, I think the goal for this episode is to figure out what could have possibly been left out of this movie intentionally. That they said, this is too much, because clearly they didn't say that at all, ever. Or this is too confusing, because they clearly didn't say that at all, ever. Or this doesn't make sense, or this is unnecessary. So what is the thing? So I'm also curious too, because we had this random tidbit in the synopsis about a drive-in movie theater that she owns, that Ruby owns. Mm-hmm. Why did they even mention that in the synopsis? Why was that important enough? They could have just said an entrepreneur. They could have just said a young entrepreneur. Like, why does the drive-in movie theater...
A series of gruesome murders take place there.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot about that part too.
Series of gruesome murders take place at the drive-in movie theater.
Damn it!
She now owns.
I forgot about that part too. Holy, this movie has everything. This movie has everything you ever want in a movie.
So it's just like every weekend they show a movie there. So like we go over the course of multiple weekends or whatever at the drive-in theater, but at the beginning of each night's double feature, there's just more and more cars there each week because everybody in the cars are getting murdered, and so they never leave. And so the cars are just still there, and there's just more and more cars.
It's a full house tonight. We've only sold 4 tickets, but it's a full house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really speechless. I totally forgot about the. So we have. Okay, this is the first time a synopsis has made me feel the way that Butterfly Kisses, the title, made me feel.
But also, it's a series of gruesome murders.
Exactly.
And so, like, how come after, like, so maybe one happens there and then they open back up later. Why don't the police, like, stand guard at this theater whenever they open back up, at least, like, after the second murder at the least?
But
it's
also,
how is there a series of them?
What
That's
does
like
this
at least 3.
What does this have to do with the 4 associates who murdered the boyfriend? What does this have to do with the girl who's mute? Why is she mute? And why does
Why
it
is
take
it
a
time to
psychic?
party?
And why is there time to party? And why is there some supernatural? I mean, okay. I'm sure the movie ties this thread together nicely, and maybe it does. Maybe it's, one of those things where like the ghost of her father is coming back through the films. Maybe, I don't know.
And the revenge that's being
and
the gruesome murders are the revenge of the ghost of the murdered gangster boyfriend who is killing the four associates who murdered him.
Maybe the people being murdered are like stealing from the concession, or they're sneaking into the drive-in without paying a ticket, and so the mute daughter is taking revenge in the name of her father on those people, because
like the father is possessing her for the revenge.
Yeah.
Because the psychic says that forces from beyond the grave are out for revenge.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
the
dad's using the daughter.
The psychic says to Ruby, like, "Your child's."
Holy shit, folks! We just what was her name? Esmeralda or something?
Yes, that's what I was going for. The fucking poltergeist.
Yeah. Holy, we got her in the studio here.
Your child's got a dark side, Ruby.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. And she's like, "Oh, little Leslie, like she wouldn't hurt a fly. She doesn't even talk."
She doesn't even talk.
Murderers.
What do you think Leslie's role is at the drive-in? Is she like projectionist? Is she concession?
Miscellaneous positions, yes.
She's just walking around.
She like
is she just like the weirdo that's playing on the on like the swing set that's always at the drive-in theater?
Yeah, she's walking around with Windex and newspaper wiping off people's windshields.
Oh wait, like what if? Hold on, because remember we're still trying to focus on, or at least I was trying to focus on what's cut from the film.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's right.
So what was crazy enough that was cut from the film? So what if
Windex and newspaper wiping off windshields?
Yes, but what if the scene starts like that, right? And everyone kind of knows Leslie is like the drive-in theater freak. Like she doesn't talk, she's weird, right?
Yeah.
And if she comes around, like you just like give her a quarter, she'll clean your windshield and go away.
Yeah, 10 minutes before the show begins.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But okay, but let's also assume that Leslie is also the individual who's doing these gruesome murders. Mm-hmm. As revenge, though, is it? Yeah, it has to be, because that's what the synopsis says, and that has to be right. Because who would write misinformation?
Yeah, like one by one, the four associates are like there at various times, and the ghost of I'm
thinking
father.
it's like a generational thing. So what if it's their kids?
They're getting revenge on the four associates' kids.
Yeah, because I mean, who goes to a drive-in other than like teens, right? To go make out. So that's what I'm thinking, is that Leslie comes, like the scene in question is that she comes upon a car where like it's like a double date situation, and these teens are in there like making out, getting handsy.
Come on, Tina, touch it.
No, Frank, I'm not ready. And Leslie walks up and like she starts cleaning the windshield, because she doesn't ask, she just does it. and then she stands awkwardly by the driver window waiting for her to like
with her hand out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they shoo her off or whatever, and maybe like one of the guys like throws a quarter at her and it like bounces off her forehead or something like that. Right. So the scene is, how does she kill them? Because I think in the movie because they're mysterious, we just see the aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's our guess. That's my guess. But maybe they cut the actual murder itself. So how do we kill these four teens who are making out, who just threw a quarter at the forehead of mute Leslie, who is acting more and more strange and potentially a conduit for her deceased father to seek revenge? How does she gruesomely murder them?
Is it going to be by knife, or is it going to be something more unique?
I think it's something more unique, and I think it's something tied to the drive-in.
The drive-in itself, I thought so too.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of like something with like one of the old reels from a movie that they just showed like last month or something that they just have laying around.
Okay.
For some reason, and
I was even thinking like she, you know how in the old drive-ins the speakers were those big metal speakers that you hung on your window.
in the window, yeah.
Right, and those things were heavy, and they were corded. So what if she like used that cord to like strangle some of them, and then use like the blunt heaviness of the speaker to bash some of their heads in?
Yeah.
But the question is she has to do this to all 4 of them. So how are we doing this? Does she first like pipe in exhaust? Like maybe she like takes a popcorn bucket or like a drink cup and puts it over the exhaust, so the exhaust backs up into the vehicle. You know, and they're all in there getting hot and steamy, so they're not even paying attention to like the exhaust coming in, but they're all getting kind of sleepy or whatever, right? And then do they pass out? Does she maybe use like like a corn dog skewer to like stab someone in the head?
Oh man, the first one's like fucking pass out and like choke to death and they're fucking vomit or something.
Oh yeah. Has to be gruesome. That's the key. It can't just be that she strangles somebody. You know.
She like, so they have the one with like the speaker that you were just describing, with like the blunt force like to the head or whatever on the boyfriend. And like before this happened, the girlfriend was blowing him or something,
right?
And then she kills the girlfriend because she's not gonna like leave one of them alive or whatever, so she also kills the girlfriend by like shoving a hot dog down her throat.
Oh no. Oh wait, how about ooh, okay, yeah, okay, so let's assume that the other couple's dead, and we'll get to that question of how in a minute. But let's just focus on this blowjob first, as I've said multiple times in my life. So
let's just focus on this blowjob.
So I think she has to kill the guy first.
Yeah,
because Tina's head is down. Her focus is elsewhere.
Yeah.
Or was her name Kathy? I can't remember.
No, I said Tina.
Okay, Tina. Right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So Tina's preoccupied, and we'll call him, I don't know, Griff, I guess. Griff, you know, he's doing occasional grunts or whatever, you know, audible noises as Tina's doing her thing, and then that goes silent. So first, let's figure out how Griff dies. How does Griff die? And again, let's assume that the other two are either already dead or they're elsewhere.
I was trying to think something happens to his throat in some fashion, because I think that the camera is like pointed down at her like head bobbing up and down or whatever.
His POV.
And you hear his like moaning and stuff, but us as the viewer, you start to notice like his vocalizations change in some fashion, and then there's like blood that you see like run down his chest.
Okay. So I mean, I don't know why we couldn't do like a knife.
Yeah, like just a throat slit or something like that.
Or even something like even piano wire. You know, like something like you know, where we slice his throat. Yeah. Okay. Okay. But then I still, so going back to, you said something about her being stabbed in the throat. I think it'd be awesome if, I mean, this is almost too much for the 70s. So this is more like 80s, but this is like Friday the 13th stuff. But what I'm picturing is like this corn dog skewer goes through the back of her head and then also like pierces his dick. So she's like shish kebabbed to his junk. Okay, so how do we kill the other two though? And they had to die first. And I mean, it doesn't have to be stuff that's limited to the drive-in. Like, she could easily have a gun, possibly, and just know these movies so well that she knows when to fire the gun because there's also a gunshot or a backfire or a loud noise in the movie. So that could be a possibility. And I still say that, like, she does the exhaust thing, maybe. Like, that's how she starts it. They end up getting weak and lightheaded. But what they do is they end up, like, cracking the window. And maybe even the other couple gets out and, like I said, goes to, like, that playground or whatever, right? So she gets them in an altered state of mind, but they don't die from the exhaust fumes. They ended up rectifying that issue. But she still used that to her advantage to get them to be separated. So the one couple that stayed in the car had their window cracked for fresh air. Then they got back into it. And then the blowjob scene, dead. Okay. So how do we kill the other two? They left the vehicle to go have their own private fun.
What do we get, like a bathroom kill or something?
We could, yeah. Or, yeah, actually, like, one of them could split off and go to the bathroom. You know, one to freshen up or whatever. And the other one stays behind. So, okay, so what happens in the bathroom? What would be in a drive? It would be nothing in a drive-in bathroom in, like, the 70s. It would barely be a sink and, like, a hole, right? A bucket. I don't know what would be. Like, it wouldn't be a nice bathroom. It would probably even have, like, are you old enough to remember? I think the White Steamer here in town had it whenever I was a kid. But do you remember, like, some bathrooms having not paper towel, but an actual, like, cloth towel dispenser? Okay, so. You're lucky. It was the grossest fucking thing because it was, imagine on the wall, mounted on the wall, is what looks like a paper towel dispenser, right? But instead, there is a continuous loop of white cotton cloth. And you just pull it down to where it's dry and kind of fresh and not used, and wipe your hands off on that. And then you just keep cycling it around. Ugh, so gross. That's what I picture in this bathroom. That a really like almost broken, rusted, you know, not rusted, but there's gunk that's part of the metal and piping growing on this toilet, and then the sink has one of those like 4-point knobs for hot and cold, and you turn it, like barely any pressure comes out, and it kind of rusty water. That's what I'm picturing in this bathroom. So what happens in this bathroom? That's gruesome. A head bash in a la Guillermo del Toro on like a sink or toilet, and then she gives him a swirly. Because I'm also trying to incorporate too, like, if this is her gangster father that is using her as like a conduit or whatever, how would he kill these people? Just a big old knife and just cuts their head off, and then
how was he killed?
By 4 associates is all we know, right?
Yeah.
I assume like a back alley. Or like a hit and run,
back
like
alley whacking.
Yeah, I say it was dirty. It wasn't like gruesome. It was just quick and dirty, is what I say for him. Very gangster retaliation style.
What if it's like the bathroom? So there's like, it's like a stall. There's like a stall that's in there, and he's in the stall, taking a piss in the toilet or whatever.
Okay.
And she comes in there, and she cuts his Achilles from underneath the stall.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
He drops to the floor. And
she kicks open. Is there a door?
Yeah. So he falls onto the ground, and she like kicks the door open,
which forces him forward.
Yes. And well, I was actually gonna say, I don't know how, but he's like on his back.
Oh.
I was just gonna say that he's like on his back, and he's like screaming in pain, and like maybe he like has his leg like lifted up,
and but he's still pissing on himself. This is like midstream. This happened.
he's like screaming in pain, and he kind of like looks up and realizes what's there, and she's standing there, and she's like holding the knife by her index finger and her thumb
just
by the
pinching
handle, and she drops it, and it goes straight
into his mouth,
lands straight down his open mouth.
I love it. Okay, I love it. And just to backtrack, maybe this is like a unisex bathroom, right? Like a one person at a time bathroom, and he's already in there, like you said, going. He hears the door open, and his first thing that he says is like, "Sue Ann, is that you?
Mm-hmm.
Did you come in here for some fun?" You know, like he's trying to flirt with her or whatever. Like he thinks he's safe and it's her. Yeah. Okay, I like that. So then, where is she at, and how does she die? The last one. And does she die before him or after him? I guess that's not really that important. We can always change that in the edit room. But let's say for our sake, she's the last one. His girlfriend, Sue Ann, where is she at? In the concession stand? Are we daring enough to do it in the concession?
No, I think. Well, fuck, I forgot she was mute. Because I was going to say that she comes up and says, like, she says something.
Yeah, I can't do that.
To get her to go into the bathroom or something. Like, you were here with that guy or something, right? And
yeah, I can't do that. Yeah.
Because she works there, the lady's like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, he's like, we have people waiting to use the bathroom. Can you go check on them or something like that? But I guess you can't do that.
I'm just picturing, like I said, I'm picturing it in the concession stand. I'm picturing that like it's part of the movie where the rest of the audience is so into the film that they're watching the movie. So there's no one in line. The concession box is very quiet, and Leslie helps run.
What if she kills the boyfriend, like we just described?
Yeah.
And she opens the bathroom door, and the girlfriend, she comes face to face with a girlfriend who's waiting outside the door because she knows that her boyfriend is in there. Maybe she did go to the concession stand or something, but then she like came back to the bathroom to wait on him to get done. And Leslie comes out of the bathroom, and the girlfriend is there, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing in there?" or whatever. Like,
yeah.
And she like grabs her and like rushes her, like pushes her back into the bathroom.
Right.
And I had the image in my head of Leslie like pulling out of the back pocket of her jeans like 2 pixie sticks and like blowing the sugar into the chick's eyes.
Yes.
Like it's fucking like sand or something.
Pocket sand.
And then
I'm with you.
I'm trying to think of what she does after that.
So wait,
that might just be like your
that?
face bashing on the sink or something like that.
Okay, yeah, because I always like that. But going back to the beginning of that scene, Sue Ann's outside the bathroom, like you said, and Leslie leaves, and Sue Ann's like, "Why were you in there? Bobby's in there, or whatever his name is, right?"
Uh-huh.
And because
Griff,
yeah, it was Griff. No, Griff was the other guy.
He's the other one that got the fucking BJ.
Yeah, exactly. So Bobby's in there, and Sue Ann says, "You know, why were you in there? Bobby's in there." And because Leslie can't talk, all Leslie does is smile and then like wipe her lips. Uh-huh. You know, like she just serviced him, basically, right?
Yeah.
And then that's what initiates that whole shoving, that rushing. You know, yeah. You little mute bitch. You know, whatever. Okay. Yeah. And I say that like because screams are going to be heard, yells are going to be heard, but I say that we hide that all in the feature that's playing, so no one, no one really hears that stuff. And then, yeah, I'm with you on like the face bashing thing onto the sink, and maybe it's not even that. Maybe Leslie doesn't even have to do anything. So she gets rushed into the bathroom by Sue Ann. Sue Ann sees Bobby stabbed in the throat with his knife, and his ankles, his tendons cut, and he's laying there covered in piss and blood. And she sees that, and she freaks out, and she turns around to run out of the bathroom, and then, like, in the entire time that we've been in this bathroom, there's been one of those signs that say wet floor, slip hazard, you know? Sue Ann hits the puddle, slips, and she falls and does a face plant and just temple right to the sink, breaks it up, and she's dead instantly. So then Leslie can leave and go back and sit on her chair in the concession stand like she's been there the whole time. Right? And then, of course, whenever people discover all this stuff, right, they all start to freak out. They think she's been there the whole time because all she did was wash the windows, and then she went back into the concession stand and sat, and then she can't give any testimony because she's mute. So they don't accuse her in the beginning. Okay, I like that. All right. I say we write just that missing. So all of that's cut out to where, like, the only part in the film we actually see is we see the features start to play, and then, like, jump cut to the into the movie, and someone, like, walks into the bathroom and just sees fucking, like, 2 dead bodies and blood everywhere.
Ruby, your child has a dark side.
Exactly. All right, what was that called again?
Christened in blood, raised in sin. She's sweet 16. Let the party begin.